So you can give us your name and age, please.
Okay, I'm Karim Toby, 43, going to turn 44 in a few months' time, based in Joburg.
Kitabi, so Madonna, better known as Nkijimi, age 35.
All right, my name is Evoud Ndaishimie. I'm 34 at the moment.
Great stuff. So what do you look for in a woman?
In a woman, I would say I'm still one of those very traditional men, if you put it like that. I think that's the more modern way of putting it. I'm still looking for a woman that has some sort of values. So put it forward, it's not that she should be black or anything, but I'm looking for her values. Those typical things that you look for in a woman, respectful and sort of willing to still perform some of those duties at home, you know. I would hate that, for example, we get at home and she says, no, I'd never cook, for example, or I'll never have to clean, or we'll have to hire somebody. So I'm really looking for those traditional values that we've always seen in women.
Yo. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Ish. No, look, it's the basics. It's the basics. I grew up in the 20th century, where it's a give and take. It's a give and take. Whatever I need to provide, you need to provide as well. So that's what I'm looking for in a woman. That's what I look for in a woman. That's what I got in a woman when I picked out the one, whereby if you need affection, you need to give me affection. If you need provision, you need to provide as well. So that's the main things that I look at. Otherwise, body type, physique, all those things can be fixed, can be arranged. So those are non-essentials for me.
You know what? In a woman, it changes, you know, according to your age. You know, when you're young, you probably wanted that fine-looking girl, just the face, because you know what? The face, everyone went for that. And then as you start growing into your teenage years, you almost start looking at her and then saying, you know what, actually the breasts look nice. You know, I'm now a breast guy. Then, you know, when you now go into your 20s, then it's now about, you know, the rest of the body now coming into it. So, you know, then at the end, you start saying, no, I want the full package. So that's what you see first. Then after that, when you start talking to a woman, then that's when you start thinking, okay, she may have the best, I think the best breast, the best bum, the best this, the best that, but I can't even hold a conversation. And then now it changes again. So I think as you age, certain things change. And you know, when you get to now the 40s, it's no longer about the looks. Okay, the looks still matter, but it's no longer about the certain body types, because most of the women you go for now, have gone through kids, have gone through all those. Now, you know, it's about whether you can actually, you know, hold a conversation with a person. The companionship with a person becomes way important than just, can a person, I think you being with someone that everyone wants. Now you want to be with someone whom you actually are comfortable being around, you know.
Great stuff,
Yeah.
man. So what would you say is the role of money in relationships and eventually in marriage?
You know, most actually money, I think I wrote a status the other day that, you know, money does exist, and it's the one that actually people fall in love with money than the person. You know, if you don't have money, I'll tell you right now, you will almost not succeed in most relationships. Even if the guy, even a para, you know, the guys, you know, the Nyaupe boys, for him to actually even go for a girl, he probably will need money to buy them mascopas, you know, those small chips and whatever. It's needed. It's part of the gateway to any relationship. There's no way you can as a man trying to be, you think, I think your personality is going to work. It works up to a certain point, but personality doesn't fit the person, So it's what I've picked up, and money it starts from very early age. You see even with kids in creche, taking the chocolates to give to a girl, it's not usually, that needs money. It's nothing like a person wrote a poem and gave them and a person is smitten. Anyone can do that, but few can actually give you chocolates, and chocolates need money. So that's how some of the relationship with money works that way. And you also pick it up as you go. You get married, and when you're married, most people think, no, cheating is a breaking point. But until, many people you've probably noticed that they actually stay together with people because of cheating. But as long as the person takes care of them, does everything for them, you find that you're going to your holidays 3-4 times a year, your clothing, everything, you basically are living the life that everyone wants. But very well that your man is going around and is with other people. So you almost look at it and say, you now gauge it. Is the money worth more than the cheating and all? And you probably notice that most people would rather stay and, rather be stay in an unhappy place with all the resources than to be happy with nothing and you now struggling to make ends meet. That is very difficult because it actually is it ends up manifesting into mental illness because people, it stresses when you have to think where your next meal comes from, where this comes from, where your kids are going to be clothed by, what's going to be your next move. If all that is gone, if it needs money and you don't have money, you actually are stuck. So that's why many people would rather, chase the money and be with the money and love follows. Love will follow. And if it doesn't happen, then people outsource that. I think the love part, you find them with someone else, but then someone else is paying for their livelihood.
Oh, yeah. No. Hey, money breaks and makes relationships. I am fortunate to be in a situation where we might have a lot of problems, like every couple do, but mine is not one of them. Mine is not one of them in terms of we have set for ourselves, these are our goals, these are our objectives. We need to achieve those. And yeah, obviously, financially, this is what you contribute, this is what I contribute. Together, we achieve what we want to achieve. I think one other thing that's important in terms of money, transparency. I think that's key. That's vital in any healthy relationship.
Our parents were not transparent with money. Like, I got to know very late what my parents were making. How do you guys make it work now that your partner knows what you earn?
Look, but if we want to be quite honest, a lot of our moms, that allows not transparency. We know where the lack of transparency came from and why. That is why Matema could get away with a lot of things and stuff like that. And yeah. But look, you just have to look back, sit back, take some time off and look, okay, so this worked for them or did not work for them. That's why they could not achieve a lot. Look, our parents were comfortable where they were. They were comfortable where they were, how their life was. They were just comfortable. So Rona, at this day and age, we cannot afford to be comfortable. If we're going to be complacent and say, I know I'm just going to give my wife 3,000 rands a month for groceries, but the kids have to go to school, and the schools right now, how the fees are going and stuff like that. So we just need to move it up a notch a bit in terms of the difference between us and how we grew up or how our parents were doing things.
Yeah. What's the role of money? I think money over the years has taken a sort of a different perspective to relationship. Obviously, before you get married, you're going to woo a woman. To a woman, and especially the dating culture these days, is that you're most likely going to want to take her out somewhere. Be it that you're going to take her from Wimpy, I'm allowed to name names, from a sort of an inexpensive restaurant, let me put it like that, to an upmarket restaurant, for example. You want to do that. And money plays a big factor in this, in that if the woman is used to a certain lifestyle and your lifestyle is slightly lower to hers, it could complicate things. It could complicate things. I'm not saying that it would never work at all. It could possibly work. But for some reason, the preferences of women these days is that, and I think it's always been like that, actually, if you think of it that way. Even in a sort of a village context, you would find that women would have wanted a man that's going to build them a house, that's going to be able to take care of the many children, rather, that they were going to give birth to. So the sort of that women looked to men that have a few more things, which has become money now, is really a phenomenon that I think has always been around. So money is going to play a big factor in the woman you are going to date. And I think as a man, I think unfortunately, if you are unable to provide the type of lifestyle that your woman may have been used to, I think it kind of starts to get to you over time. So in short, I'm trying to say that money does play quite a critical role in the relationship and sort of the type of women you may be able to date in general, sort of a general statement. I'd say in summary, that's really how I see money playing a role in you as a young person getting out there into the dating market.
Great. So we're gonna get into the bit more challenging-ish questions. They are
Yeah.
hypothetical, so you're not gonna get into trouble with your wife or anything like that. Girl number one is educated and has a career, but ranks quite low on the looks. She is not appealing at all. Girl number two is extremely good looking, but she doesn't have much education and is unemployed. Which girl would you go for and why?
Ooh, a tough one, tough one. In terms of choosing, it would depend when we meet, to be honest. And I'm not going to lie and say that looks are unimportant, especially when you're first meeting him, right? So the second option of a woman that's very beautiful but has no sort of higher education is appealing to me. I'm not going to lie. Because when I see her at a restaurant or at this beautiful place at the beach, I'm gonna be like, oh wow, look at her, how beautiful is she? And I'm most likely going to say, hey, listen, let me buy you a drink. And then her intelligence and everything else, I'm only going to figure it out a bit later. Versus the woman that the looks are not sort of there, but has her own thing going. Me approaching her, my chances may be lower than the one that's pretty. I don't know if I'm making sense. So for me, I think the pretty woman, I would still go for her.
As I said earlier, it depends on the age. If I was younger, I would have not even looked at the educated person, and I would have gone for the beautiful one. The older you get, you now start almost looking at the other person, because especially these days, also the money issues becoming tricky, in the economies we live in. So the independent person becomes slightly more getting to be attractive. So it depends, I think, where you are in life. And in terms of me, what will I choose at this point in time? Independent people are a problem. They really, they put it out there that, you know, it becomes a problematic. You know, we grew up in an era as well where the man had to be listened to, had to do this, had to be doing the money, had to bring in everything. And then for me now, when someone tells me that I do everything for myself, I do this, it may actually just, I think, tip their favor to the beautiful but has got nothing, and they'll rely on me. So I'll take the second one. The person who's beautiful and just got nothing.
Yeah. Like I said, physique and physical attributes to me mean nothing. It's just a personality. If you go for the girl number one who's educated, hey, you need to be very cautious. Some women take education as a form of rulership or dictatorship and say, no, I'm more educated than you, or whatever the case may be, and that might be a problem. You don't wanna deal with such. But hey, to answer your question shortly, see about politically too much. I'll go for girl number one.
Why?
No. Like I said, it's just a matter of if in her education shows that she's determined to achieve something, and we end up having the same goal, or we driving towards the same objective, that's why I would choose number one. Like I explained before, I gave you the answer because I kind of knew that this question was coming. Why? That if our objectives align, I'll go for girl number one, because number one, look, we can look at girl number two and say she's not educated. Maybe it was because of finances, go high, she could not afford to, or it's just girl number two who's depending on her beauty and get things because she's beautiful, and therefore she must get married, she must have a rich husband, she must, you understand? So that's why I would go for girl number one.
Okay. The next question. Girl number one is super hot. It's like super hot. But she has 2 kids with 2 different fathers. Girl number 2 is like average looking, but no kids. Which one do you go for?
Yeah, thanks. Look, the obvious answer would be girl number 2, but I always have a but, because I always want to understand the situation behind the situation. I mean, girl number 1 could be your typical slave queen who just goes into it, catches a baby, the father slips out. Or it could be a girl that has always been determined to achieve something, but had 2 unfortunate instances where she became pregnant by dads who are not ready to be dads. You understand? And therefore would go for her. But if the situation was like she was just busy, she was living a life, living a happy life, and all of that, then I would rather go for the same option, which is girl number 2.
I'll go for girl number 2. Girl number 1, the baggage is not about her having, I think it's about what you want from you. It's no longer, it's going to be more for her kids, you know. So you are basically taking over that role of being the father and being the provider for her kids and everything. And there's a chance that she may not even want to have kids with you, because she already has kids. And so you have to now take care of her kids. And that's how I'll think about it. It may not be her fault that she's got 2 different baby daddies, but then, you know what, if I can't go in step further, and, you know, now all my money goes to someone who tomorrow one of the baby daddies can come back and say, you know what, you're my wife, you know, you've even got my kids, so let's go and just try this again. And then you're almost stuck together. I think with someone who is probably conflicted. But with the second person, you know, yeah, she may be average, but we can build, we can start everything, and we can do whatever we need to do without having extra baggage. You know, sometimes it's the stresses of life. I wouldn't want to wake up tomorrow seeing someone talking to the baby daddy with love emojis, with everything, you know, and yet I'm sitting here thinking that I'm the one who's going to be waking up and taking the kid to school sports, do everything. But then, you know what, this person is thanking the baby daddy for the maintenance for the month with emojis and all that. That will drive me crazy.
Yeah, I'll go for option number 2. I think in the context of this country of South Africa, we know we've gotten to learn the complications of what do they call it? Is it co-parenting? For example, if the one parent has a bit more than the other, then, for example, when something needs to be bought, it really creates an environment that may not be pleasant over the long term, that you as sort of a third party coming into this relationship, you may get sick of it. So for me, I would prefer a woman that's really, she's still single, as much as she may not be Miss World, but you have a nice and comfortable, easy life with her.
All right, moving on to the second last question. Girl number
Sorry.
1 is highly social. You know, she likes to go out, and she's also very adventurous. Girl number 2 likes to stay at home, indoors, cook, and watch movies. Which one do you go for?
Interestingly, answering this question is that as a young person, I was very timid, and I hardly went out. I was sort of a nerdy type that just wanted to focus on my books. And I think as I've grown older, I've started to enjoy a bit more outdoors, and I enjoy socializing a bit out there. So I think my option, based on my current personality, would then be that I want a woman that I can go out with, be out there and explore, be willing to take a drive to Mpumalanga, now and then take a drive to Limpopo for the weekend. Now and then, go to a Shisanyama or something. So I think my option is really based on that.
Hey, Brenda, do you know my wife? Yeah, I'll go for girl number 2.
Because
Girl
that's
number 2. I
you
think
already chosen.
you understand, and despite popular belief, I know people have a different perspective of bikers, because we're always on the road, we're always in different provinces and different places. But I'm more of type of person that you are more likely to find me in the house than anywhere else. You understand? So that would be my comfort zone, where I know I'm at home with my woman and probably my kids, just chilling and Netflixing.
You see, also depends on age. 43, I'll prefer girl number 2, because number 1, yes, you can do all that, but then it's now, you know, some of these things, you know, they all seem simple up until you have to now sit with a person, and, you know, you're almost looking at the person who probably wants you to be the one taking care of all the costs, everything. And it all sounds nice up until you know what you're doing conquer every 2 times a week or 2, or even maybe say 2-3 times a month. What you drinks is probably costing you your groceries, and you, unless you know what you're a CEO or big baller or someone who's got money for days, that becomes expensive. And you know, I've got young mates who are in their 20s, early 30s. You see, when they're early 20s, they'll be going out, but they're not going out less and less. And I think you start understanding that, you know what, really, it's not really a person's social standing. Yes, it can be good. Maybe person is reliant on it for their income, But then if you're not reliant on it and yet you know you're spending thousands each month, then you know what, you have to start trying to figure out why you are still continuing with it. Why don't you maybe not have it as a thing, maybe do house parties? You know, yeah, hiking is it's cheap, that. Maybe do road running, maybe cheap. But then you know what, when you're talking social, these guys are doing Durban July. They're doing Cape Town the whole holiday of December. They're doing, it's not small things. We usually say social, up until you notice that social is not the usual social of olden days where we say, oh no, let's just go to a corner cafe or whatever. No, social to them, it's going out big every weekend. And you see it on Instagram. There are people who actually end up becoming, they are known, they'll even say they're hostesses, because for them to be hostess means that they're known for their parting ways. They're known for their ways of doing things. And unfortunately, it's not, to me, it's mainly a resource thing. And I will not want a person who would be every day on the streets, every weekend on the streets. I'll prefer a person who is actually at home. Even if you go out 2-3 times a month, not be a social butterfly, to be, you know, there's a thing, the summers, you're there, there's this, you're there, there's that, you're there, there's this, you're there. You start trying to figure out how do you get even those invites so fast. It's, you know, these are things we start playing on a person's mind as well. Like, who are you to be getting all this, to be a social butterfly everywhere? Do you even work? You know, do you, because those are things we start trying, you're trying to figure out, like, how do you even afford all those things? You know, it's not some of these social events are not cheap, but then, you know, there are people who are there every single time. You know, there's the Bacardi weekend away. There are people who go there, there's every week, every time that it's there, you figure out, like, no man, hold on, that's camping. You need camping trip equipment, you need this, you need that. Surely that's not a cheap thing. And then a week later, they are now going to another event, Sun City, you know, for the Fontaine. Then you're like, no, something just doesn't add up, you know. But if you've got the resources, yeah, and you like just being everywhere, you can do it. But on my side, I just believe when you get to a certain age, you can continue doing them, but you have to curtail. And the person who stays at home becomes more of your calming person. You know, when you come back, you come from work, you need someone there, and she also needs someone whom she can rely on, that they won't be in the streets when they are not feeling well. You are there, you know, on the weekends, she probably might say, let's do something, you go together, you do, yes, but then it's not like a person who's going to be wanting to be everywhere, doing everything. Yeah, Netflix and chill is fine, we like that, but I don't see myself with someone who's going to be thinking that I think watching a documentary on Netflix is the most boring thing. The person needs to be at Live, Conquer, Taboo, just so that they feel themselves. Nah, that's not me.
Well, that's quite lovely. The last question is, girl number one has a good relationship with, okay, both these girls, they have children from previous relationships. Girl number one has a good relationship with her baby daddy. Girl number two has a very bad relationship with the baby daddy. Which one do you go for?
Automatically, I will go for girl number one. But like I said, I'm a man with a lot of buts. Girl number one, in terms of it, for me, it shows a level of maturity when two people who were madly in love and wanted to build something, and they have this little one that's going to bind them for life. They get over their feelings for each other and give it all for this little soul. When I say that, I don't mean girl number one now should be so close with baby daddy that baby daddy will sleep over at least sick or because of the kid. No. That's not how it should work. But they should have a mutual relationship. They should have some form of decency. They should be decent towards each other. Whereas girl number two, like I said, there's always a situation behind a situation in terms of girl number one could have her own reasons why she's toxic or she wants nothing to do with baby daddy. I should not just cut her out because I would need a baby daddy. It could be a lot of issues. There could be gender-based violence involved, and in that case, you'd understand why a person doesn't want anything to do with the previous partner. So, but the natural answer would be for girl number one.
I think interestingly, I might contradict myself from previous what I've just said. I make if those are the two options, then I would probably go with the one with a good relationship with baby daddy. Because you know what, sometimes when a person's got a bad relationship with the other person, they now start needing someone to take over the other roles and responsibilities, because you know the person is fighting every time the other side. You then have to be always in the middle, trying to make the person happy, trying to calm them down, you know what, you are almost their counselor, you're everything about this person. Yet if a person is happy with baby daddy, there is nothing, nothing happening, you probably might end up becoming even friends with the baby daddy. You know, the baby daddy knows that, you know what, if you're comfortable with their children and you are a good guy, you know, the guy might, you know, even I think the relationship even moves to being the guys now being guys. You know, you won't be going, if you know very well that, okay, there's nothing between the two, everything's gone, it's finished.
How could you be so sure?
You can't be so sure, but then you know what, I would rather be with a person who is calmer, and when I get home, I'm not really stressed by the drama that's happening on the side. Yeah, tomorrow, you know what, if I find them together, I might start thinking, what if these two? But you know what, maybe because I've seen people who are in such relationships where baby mama is, you know, very happy with baby daddy and everything. Sometimes they even go to school, things together, and then they move away. The guy goes home, she goes home. I've seen those type of relationships. And I've seen relationships where it's cat and mouse. Guys are always in court. There is everything that's wrong. And then you are sitting there as the partner, trying to figure out how to even comfort this person who is literally always in tears, who's always fighting the other person. You end up questioning that, actually, why are you guys fighting so much? Is it maybe the relationship ended, someone didn't want it to end? Because how is it that you guys are still fighting so much?
I think definitely number one. Definitely number one. Again, you don't want a toxic environment within your relationship, because the baby daddy becomes almost an extension of your family, be it that you like it or not, right? Because the child will want to go and see them, for example. So if they have a good relationship, the baby daddy can drop off the kid, you've got no issue. You may even be willing to go and fetch the kid based on that good relationship that you have. So my choice really is that I want peace. I love peace, and I'd go for option number one.